Oh, that's why no one could hear me.
Good morning, everybody. The Zoom
on.
was muted.
Yeah, that explains that.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Can everybody hear us okay? I think so. All right. Welcome to the June 13th edition of our GoGuru Pro CRM call. Thank you all for being on here. I had in mind to build a Facebook ad and connect it to the CRM and get that all set up, just because that seems like one of the processes that we're having to explain and go through the most. And I think it's a process that almost every agent needs to be doing. So we're here to put together a video to walk us all the way through that process and what that looks like and all the hurdles and hiccups that you'll hit and where to go to navigate around that and push through and make it work. Right.
That's right.
So before we get started, I know I always tell everybody to bring, questions and things to that call. We didn't want to, ignore everybody. If you had something really exciting that you were actually hoping to be built, we'll put it on the list here. Will's got it. So like I said, we're going to take notes and kind of maybe build some videos in between calls for you guys, if there's anything specific that we could help out with, and just try to provide some more walkthroughs on how to use the system, and maybe get into some more high level stuff, because it's something that I don't want to bore you all with, but some people are getting into like API integrations and how to maybe get your lead source to directly import your leads to the system, right? Without you having to do anything else or import a CSV file on your own. Maybe you're wanting say you're buying leads from a vendor and they're willing to give you the API documentation to upload that into your system immediately when it's created. So things like that. Like I said, them are more high level. And so they're videos that I want to do in between time and not necessarily take up everybody's time, because again, it really gets in detail and in depth with that, but it's something that's needed. So I want to make the video. So, but today, again, if anybody has any questions, we'll go ahead and answer that. If there's anything that you've been hitting a roadblock on since we've last talked. Anybody got any of that?
I got one to add to the list, if you would.
All right, Chris, what you got?
Hey, thanks so much for the video you and Justin did on the thanks.io. I got used your affiliate link. You got signed up there. Awesome. I've also used their service to design some cards. I've got my 4th card in production right now, all branded in a sequence. It's really great. Excited about the way that you demonstrated it might integrate with the CRM. At this point, thanks.io is not able to figure out how to connect to your CRM. So if you just put it on the list just to do a side video. I know it uses Lead Connect. I know it's a Zap. They've got all that information. They still can't quite connect all the dots. So not to take up the time today, if you just add it to the list for a little how-to video. Absolutely.
So I'll go ahead and answer that, real quick. But yeah, we'll add that to the list and kind of do a more thorough walkthrough of it. But yes, so it's not going to directly integrate, but Zapier is going to be your middleman for it. So your big hurdle there is that when your trigger for a Zap is Go High Level or Lead Connector, right? Like that's the platform we're essentially using. So your trigger starts in Lead Connector. The only trigger option they give you is when a pipeline stage has changed. Mm-hmm. Right? Does that make sense? Like, sure. So there's no other, I can't add a tag and that triggers something. So I have to build an automation in Go High Level that says, when they get this tag, move them to this stage. So I'll have a pipeline dedicated just for like a specific trigger that's going into Zap, right? So I would create a pipeline just for that. And I say, when they get that tag, then move them into that stage of the pipeline. Well, by doing that, that sets off my Zap, and my Zap talks to thanks.io, gets all that information, and then sends them the card or gift card referral, whatever.
Right.
So Zap is really the middleman, really powering that connection and making it happen. So again, the biggest hurdle is if your trigger is coming from Go High Level, the only trigger we get is a pipeline stage move. So we have to move them in the pipeline, and you can manually go and do that, or I like to just have a tag. If I add this tag, it's going to move them in that pipeline, because a lot of times that's in a completely different pipeline. I'm working like a under 65 pipeline, for instance. So I want to track them in the stages of the pipeline, but I don't want to have to go move them in this pipeline and say, oh yeah, I need to go to my other pipeline and move them. right? So they get my card. Well, what I'm going to do is say when I drag them to this stage of my under 65 pipeline, give them a tag. And then I have another workflow that says when they receive that tag, move them in the other pipeline to that last stage, which triggers my zap. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Again, that is complicated, right? Because again, there's some workarounds that we're doing, and I can get more thorough on a video for that. So like I said, we'll get to that sometime in the next few weeks and come out with some more of that, because we're wanting to do more of these videos. We're doing them weekly, but again, stuff like that's very beneficial to see it in action in a slow pace walkthrough. So we're going to be doing some more of that. So anybody else have anything they want to add to that list? Anything else that's came up?
Yeah, I have something. I'm a brand new user, just signed on yesterday. And
it's Frank, right?
No, Mike Foz.
Mike. Oh, I'm sorry. Got you. Good to meet you, Mike.
Thanks. And I'm just looking for two simple things to get started. I'm looking for a template for the CSV file to import my contacts. And then also I need some help on some calendar integration. So if you could just point me to those areas where I need to go so I can get started on that, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Just gonna share my screen here.
So you're just needing to know what the format needs to be of that CSV file before you do the import. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Right. And then in terms of calendars, we only have 2 users. We want to make sure that we can integrate both of our individual Google calendars into one calendar in terms for appointments. And so I just need to know how to do that and keep them separate, but then keep them together so both of us can view it, but just so we can get them integrated properly with our individual Google calendars.
Yes. Okay. Close some of this here. All right, so let's switch over. And so to integrate your calendars, you're just going to head over to the settings. So just be mindful that you have 2 calendar spots. You have a default calendar spot that shows up on the main menu right here. And that's actually going to show you your calendar and show you like all the appointments that have been set. And then you can filter that out right here. But to set up the calendar, you're going to go to settings, and then you'll go to calendars again once you're in your settings. And then that will kind of get you to setting up the calendar. If you've ever built a calendar on Calendly, this is very similar to that process. You're going to build a new calendar, and again, it's that whole setup right there. And as far as integrating into your current calendar, we always recommend Google Calendar as the one to integrate with. However, it will work with Outlook. We've had some issues with Outlook in the past, but it works with Outlook. But if you're using Google Calendars, very simple integration. Just go to integrations and click on your Google account right here. Sign in with your Google account. Once you've made that connection, so like if we hit sign in, I'm going to sign in with my account. Once I've made that connection, the next step is to go to myself as a user in the system. So let's go to Testy. Let's just say that's myself. Once my Google account has been connected, I'm simply going to go to my staff, click on the user that you want, and then it says user calendar configuration. So let's see what it loads. It should tell me I don't have any connected accounts. But if I had any connected accounts, they would pop up right there, and there would be a couple of options to use the account, select exactly what calendar you want to sync with, and then you can do a one-way sync or a two-way sync. One way, it's just going to send appointments out to that calendar. Two-way is going to sync everything on that calendar, this calendar, and back and forth. So,
Okay.
but once you have that connected, You can also set your overall, like your main availability, like your total working hours. And then that's going to be your default working hours. And then when you go into the calendars, you're going to narrow this specific calendar down by, let's just say this is my Medicare calendar. I'm going to run Medicare appointments Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I would tell this calendar to only accept appointments Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Then I would build another calendar for whatever I did on Thursday and Friday.
Oh, okay.
So I could have multiple calendars in here that's still syncing to my main one Google Calendar. It's just I'm sending these links out for different reasons, right? I might build a calendar and put it specifically on my Google My Business page. So if someone lands on my Google My Business page, they could book through that link, but I have a calendar dedicated just to them bookings. And I could say, okay, I'm only going to set Google My Business calendar bookings on Monday between 8 and 12 in the morning or whatever the case is. But so you can see how, multiple calendars could be used for your one main calendar.
And then for the website calendar, you just need to build that out.
So that's right here. So once you have these calendars set up, I'm going to click calendar code. And so that's going to give me a code, right? So if I have a team calendar selected or I have a specific calendar. So let's just say I want to select the unassigned my calendar right here, that I would say unassigned and my calendar. Now this is going to give me the URL and I can pass this URL wherever. And this is where they're going to actually go and they're going to book it, right? They're going to book their appointment. Or if I want to embed that code inside of a website, it's going to give me the code that I can put on my website and it'll embed that, in any style of website that you want. Something to be mindful of is if you're using a team calendar is going to give you the option to have a dedicated calendar URL or a non-dedicated URL. All that means is when I click this right here, I have the option to go back. I can go back and I can select different teams. So if I had, different calendars under that, I don't have multiple. Let's just create a new one. That's going to make me go to, I don't want to. But if I had multiple calendars here and hit calendar code, right, it's going to say have a dedicated. So if I turn that on, it's going to give me a URL where they can't go back. See, I can't go back here. I have a team calendar and I don't have that checked. It's not going to give me a dedicated URL. So if I sent that to somebody, they could possibly click back and go schedule on another calendar. I could have multiple calendars here. So it's just something to be mindful of in the system.
So
but yeah,
so it's better to have the dedicated calendar URL.
I always like to use it because if I'm sending that link out, I want them to book on that calendar. Very seldomly would I want them to have the one where they can, just navigate to a different calendar.
Gotcha.
And that may be the one I put on my Google Business, right? I might have an under 65 calendar, Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement calendar. So I might have like all my product calendars and let them pick what type of appointment they're going to set.
Gotcha.
All right. So that's the calendars. And
will that replace Calendly?
It would, yes, it could potentially. I mean, it is basic Calendly, right? Like there is some upper levels, some upgrade levels of Calendly that you could buy where it would do some more things, right? It'll do a few more things. But if this the basic version of Calendly, yes, this would absolutely replaced it. It replaced it for us.
Okay, so I don't need Calendly linked to my Google Calendar, then coordinate it to this calendar. I can sync this in real time with my Google Calendar. So if wherever I put the appointment, it shows on both, and I can use the link from GoGuru. I don't have to use the Calendly anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
Thank you.
Essentially, that link that we were just looking at would have replaced that Calendly link.
Perfect. That's right. Yeah.
In my opinion, it's Calendly built in there. I don't know how they're not got a lawsuit or something for this. Like it's almost the same system built in.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Exactly right. We just take advantage of it, and we were using Calendly before we had access to the system. We've started using this for almost everything. So, if any of you have booked them one-on-one calls and everything, like that was all through here, and it looked just like Calendly.
Quick question, Stephen. So if we're using Calendly and some old campaigns that are still running, as long as Calendly is linked to the same Google Calendar,
right?
We won't have a
Say I have,
conflict.
I have my main Google Calendar. Yeah, I'm syncing that with Calendly. And then let's just say I sync it to this system. Now you have just like a big sync where everything is just powered by that one main calendar. And you should, ideally, you shouldn't get overlapping appointments if you have everything, you know, the availability set up right.
And this is just for me. If you do have Calendly set up and they do set the appointments, you cannot send that automation in. It's not going to pick up on Calendly calendar events.
That is true, right? Like Go High Level is not going to respond to any of your Calendly appointments, right? You could get it to work, but you would have to connect Calendly to Zapier and Zapier to the Go High Level system. So I mean, it's possible, but a couple more hoops to jump through.
Yeah, no, once we get ourselves all set up, everything will move over to this calendar. But I do have some legacy stuff out there that I don't really mind that it's not connected to GoGuru yet, but I don't want to have 4 appointments at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's definitely possible to have them all working together and not getting overlapping appointments. Because like I said, when you turn that two-way sync on, it's saying if you have an appointment, we're not going to allow another appointment booking. All right. So again, I was going to build a Facebook ad and then connect that to the system and get that all going. I was going to do it here in the snapshot account. So it was just kind of a fresh account where I haven't touched it. I haven't like preset this up at all. So it's almost the same process as you would be jumping into it and looking at it. Right. So, because I wanted to run into the same hurdles that you would run into when you were going through it. So first things first, we have to have an ad, right? So let's head over to business.facebook.com, go over to our ads, all tools, that's where it is. Your ads manager. This itself can be tricky to get to, right? business.facebook.com, all tools, ads manager. This will get you to the right spot. This little dashboard here is the one we want to look at. So first thing we're going to do is let's just go ahead and create a campaign. So we're going to create a auction style campaign. And I usually like to go for engagement. We can do brand awareness, traffic, lead gen. In this case, we're going to do lead gen because we're wanting to connect the lead gen form directly to Go High Level and the GoGuru Pro system. So lead generation is going to give us the lead form option. Go ahead and continue with that. So we'll say new lead generation campaign. I'll roll with that. I'm not going to go with any declarated categories. Set that. We can A/B test it, which I always recommend doing, but in this case, we're not going to do that. And so daily budget, we'll leave right at $50. It's a good daily budget to start with.
Why would you A/B test it?
If I didn't know which image was going to work better, or if I was uncertain about which copy was going to work better. So I would first start with the image, see which image is going to give me more clicks. Once I have a winner for my image, then I would start focusing on the copy. Then I would start adjusting the copy. Does this wording work better versus this wording?
Right.
And then I would tweak that several times for at least a month or two, my verbiage, right? I would get an image that wins. Then you could test it against another image, but usually 1 or 2 tests on the image will get you a higher engaging image. It's never going to be perfect. You can always continue testing that to get a better performing ad, right? Like that's something about marketing. A lot of people just want to put it in place and leave it. Well, it's nothing that I'm never going to quit testing. I'm always going to test, is this image or this image working better? Is this words or these words working better, right? I'm always trying to figure out how can I optimize my ad to get better conversion rate. So it's never something, it's just like, okay, it's done, it's working, it's converting at a high rate, I'm just going to kick my feet up and leave it.
Right.
Well, if it's getting me $10 leads, can it give me $5 leads, right?
Mhm.
Like I want to see if I can improve my
Just
ad.
dialing it in.
Yeah, I want to see if I can get it to a lower cost, essentially, right? Sorry, Mark had a question. What was that? I think I see a question come up. Between A/B testing and setting up multiple ads under an ad set. So when you do the A/B test, it's going to literally show it to the almost the exact same types of audience, and then is going to have a winner. Like you're going to say, when do you want this A/B test to end? So let's start it on Tuesday and we're going to go through Friday. On Friday, it's going to show me all the insights. This one got more clicks. This one had more see mores, like they expanded the text and they read more because of this. This one had more clicks on the headline. This one had more clicks on the learn more, like things like that. It's going to give you all the insights versus that image versus that image in the same time frame, targeting the same audience. If you do it under multiple ad sets, yeah, I can say, well, this one's giving me lower cost leads than this one, but I don't have the true analytics to go behind it. And so it's got to be data driven, right? You need data driven insights to run your business. Everything that you do about your business needs to be data driven. Like data is your crystal ball, how you're going to see into the future and how you're going to spend money and where you're going to spend money. If I don't have the data to back it, I promise you're not going to be confident in spending it. And if you do spend it, you're going to be real wary about whether you're going to get your return on investment. So these are things that I don't just guess with my money, right? I can't just hope. Like I have to have the data to back up what I'm saying. And so it was a big thing for me with Justin, like me telling him that we had to put everything into the CRM. So that's so I can get the data out to say, hey, where can we spend more money marketing? Okay, well, I'm spending a lot of money on Facebook and I'm running 3 different style ads, but this one in particular is giving me a lot of returns. I'm getting a lot of leads on it and they're high quality leads. I'm getting a lot of returns. Well, now that I have that data, I can say, well, turn off the other ones and let's dump all that money into this one and increase what we're getting out of it. Right. So it's all data-driven insights. Everything that you do, especially with your leads and your marketing, is going to be driven by data. So collecting that data is so important. And that's why CRMs are big, right? And that's the system that you're using is giving you all this data, but I have to have good data in. It needs to be, I like to say GIGO, right? I sent the email out yesterday, garbage in, garbage out, GIGO. If I put garbage data into it, I'm going to get garbage data out of it. So any ad I run on Facebook, it's not a waste. Even if I spent money on it, I didn't really convert at a high rate. I got people that were engaging with the ad and now I have data. As long as I got data out of it, it's not a waste of money because I know, okay, I don't need to spend my money on that set of people anymore, right? Like that was a bad call. I don't need to do that again. So that's good because now I know where not to spend my money. But it's all driven by data. And so the A/B test is just a way to give you some more data on which one is going to work better.
So a quick question on that.
My sound, it's very powerful. Yeah, Mark.
Yeah. So I have always done them the other way. I've done multiple ads under one ad set, different pictures, different copy and stuff like that. So with A/B testing, you're telling me that I can actually take and target 2 different groups of people to see which one's going to perform better?
Actually, the same groups of people, because you're going to have that target audience, right? And then you're going to say, well, I want pretty much the same people to see this to give me an idea of which one's performing better. Like I don't want to target 2 complete different audience because it's going to give me garbage data because the data is not comparable. Like,
gotcha.
For instance, every 60, 64 or 63-year-old, it shows this one too. It's going to show it to a 63-year-old female on the other side, right? Like it's going to equal that out. So your data is very comparable as far as the demographic that you're targeting.
Thank you.
All right, so let's just continue along here. So instant forms is what we're going to use. Let's run this on our Bobby Brock page. So select your page. We can do a catalog if you have a store set up. So I was bringing that up. Let's see, here it is. I said it was the 13th earlier. Sorry, I'm a day behind, guys. Just gonna run it through Friday. Options. We're not going to set any spend limits. Find who you want to see your ad. Here we go. All right. So we can use the saved audience, right? But we're going to build an audience here because it's just assume. So people living in this location. location traveling to. Obviously, you would want people living in this location, not recently in this location, right? Living in or recently in this location may be giving you 64-year-old truck drivers that may be driving through the area, right? Like not necessarily the people that live in it. So we're gonna do living in, and I usually like to target an entire state. So we live in Mississippi. We'll do the entire state. And it's going to be a veteran focused ad. So we're going to do 64 plus. One drawback to Facebook is it doesn't let you target over 65-year-olds. 64 plus, 65 and over, all genders. Not going to discriminate here. All genders, anybody 64 up. All right, I like that. I'm good with that. Right here. So placements. This is a big one where everybody gets hung up. And this is me and Justin kind of hit on this a little bit in that Facebook marketing webinar that we did last week. But we usually like to stick with Facebook only and then stick with the feeds. So we don't like to be in stream. We don't like to be in search, and we don't like to be in the article. This keeps you in the regular news feed that most of the people are going through, right? Like you could be found. I'm not saying that any of this other stuff doesn't work. We've had plenty of situations where we just turned on like the in stream where it shows you in all the videos, right? Because if people are watching more videos, we wanted more video views. And so if you're running a 3 to 5 minute video, I would probably run that in stream. And so I'm in the feed where people are already watching videos, if that makes sense, right? Like they get in there and they get mindlessly lost in that. So like in feed and the reels, like stuff like that. But in this case, I'm just going to build a veteran focused ad and we're going to leave this off. So feeds only. Only Facebook feed. That's all we want to be in. No stories. None of that. Facebook feed. All right. Okay. Just the fun stuff, right? So our ad setup, we're going to create an ad. You can use a ad you've set up in the past. I'm going to build one here for the single image or video. We like static images for this type of stuff. If you do video is good for viewer engagement. If I'm going to try to build a retargeting campaign and retarget people that view my video. But I would, if I'm just targeting an ad for lead gen here, like we are, a static image is probably going to work best. So static image, we're going to add the media. Let's just go get a. Anything fancy, just something that kind of jumps out. To use some.
That one had a mosquito on it. That was funny.
The red one. And save that bad boy. Jump back over to our ads manager. Okay. It's too small. Same one. Load this image here. All right. Yeah, here we go. All right.
Hey, Pollock, you're good now. You come in. Are you okay, Pollock? Hey,
All right.
okay.
So we're just gonna get something that is attention grabbing.
Here, 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 and there. I'm gonna be black.
You see what to find things on.
Symbols.
Gotcha.
Stop them.
Did you ever get that stuff at me?
Oh, be careful. Careful.
Did they handle that much? Just show you.
This has to go.
I can use that in this one.
What's wrong?
I stopped for you, please. Sorry. Just get it for us.
Makes sense. People are going to get mad at you. Probably not.
I should get it.
I ain't mad at it.
You guys get the idea. It doesn't really matter because Facebook cuts it off and they can't, they got to click see more anyway. So just trying to get them to see more. Headline. Always use the learn more. Learn more always gives us better results. Veteran lead form already. There we go. All right. So we didn't lie, right? We didn't lie. We're just trying to get their attention, trying to get them to learn more and give us some more information. Didn't lie. They could possibly qualify for a low income subsidy, give them $170 back into their check, or
As part of the rebate.
as part of a MA plan, they could potentially get a Part B premium give back. And then I said VA users auto qualify, right? So didn't lie. They automatically qualify for a year-round SEP that I can enroll them in any time of the year. So if someone that uses the VA calls me up and they want this particular plan I was talking about, I have plans that I can give them immediately because I can use a other creditable coverage SEP year-round for them, and then they're getting a Part B give back as part of that. So I'm not lying. VA users auto qualify. They can get their money now. They could get up to 170 back if they qualified based on income, right? So not lying. We're just trying to capture their attention with some of this. And that's all you're trying to do when you're in the news feed is catch people's attention. You notice they used a red state versus a blue state because we're typically red when we vote. And so if I put a blue state up, I would get all kinds of negative comments saying, nope, not doing business with you, using that blue state, right? Like it's just how it works. But I'm going to appeal to more people using red. It's going to stand out. Like I'm just trying to catch their attention, right? A lot of people in our demographic are very politically driven. They keep up with it. So when they see the red state, attention grabber, especially someone that was in the VA. So there's a lot of psychology that's going behind what I was doing here. And you have to put yourself in the mindset of your target market. So again, when I started this, I said I was going to target a veteran, and someone that uses the VA is particularly somebody that I'm targeting. So I'm trying to get in the psychology of that person and get in the psychology and mind of that senior. And so doing that, like I said, I have to put myself in their shoes and what are they thinking about? So if I'm targeting the entire state, everybody's 64 plus and they're veterans, I want to get somebody that potentially will qualify. So again, throwing the 170 out there to stop them. Then I tell them they could get, a Part B give back. And then as the headline, hey, VA users auto qualify. So when they see that, and then they read, get your money back now, let's learn more about that, right? And then they click learn more and they fill out a lead form. And then the lead form comes into our system. And so that's the next part of it that we're going to set up. So we've got that.
Hey, Steve, your shirt is blue.
Yes. Well, luckily they're not viewing me and they're just seeing that, but yes. No, again, and it's just that psychology of catching someone's attention while they're scrolling through their feed. Because you only got
3 seconds,
2 to 3 seconds. Quarterly report. I was just reading a report the other day on the Hootsuite. But yeah, you only got like 2 seconds to capture someone's attention on Facebook. I mean, it's ridiculous on like what the average attention span is for somebody that's using Facebook, and it goes through all the other platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and all of them. So, all right, so that's the ad building part of it. We've got the ad going, it's processing. Facebook will probably take a couple hours to approve that or deny that. We may have to come back and tweak it just a little bit if they cancel it. We can come back and appeal that process, maybe tweak it and then appeal it. But eventually it should get published and should start running with the $50 a day budget until Friday. So we'll see if I'm going to leave it going too. I'll let you guys know the outcome of that. Just remind me to report back on what that actually gave us, because I'm going to let that run and we're going to set this up to go to Johnny. Let him run them this week. So, all right, I'm going to build it in the snapshot account, but again, I'll go and hook it up to our account so it actually works and gets to him. All right, so we have the first thing we did, we built the ads. We have the ad, we have the lead form built out. Now I need to get it to come into my system, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is go into my settings and go into the need to go into the settings here and set my integration up. So settings, and then I have integrations in my settings. I need to connect this to my Facebook account. Go ahead and click connect. I'm logged into Facebook. It should just say continue. And we're going to continue. Select what page you want. Right. Connect Facebook and Instagram. All right. So we've connected that. Now let's select the page that we want to use because we have multiple pages. Oh, I just did this. So I could hide this. How can I hide this? Don't you? All right. Connect page. All right, we're just going to go back. Take this. Go back into the system here. All right, so I have my page connected. Let's just go verify that. Page, selected page, Bobby Rock Insurance. Okay, so it's on there. So I'm not done yet here. The next step I have to do is my Facebook form fields mapping. I have to tell it when that form is filled out, where does it need to go inside of the system? So this is very important. So if you already connected your Facebook page and you've moved past that, just go back before you set all this up, go back into your integrations and click on Facebook form field mapping. So right here, it's going to pull up all the forms that you've built inside of Facebook. So what we're going to do is, I've already got the one I wanted set up, but let's just say the ACA Mississippi ad, right? So I'm going to say, when the form field on Facebook is first name, where do you want that to go in the GoGuru Pro? First name, last name. And by default, it should recognize a lot of it. You can see street address. It didn't pick up. So I would just have to click here and map that to wherever I wanted it to go in the system. So address. All right. And so now address is going there. And I just click save. And now I can turn this on or off, but it's in there and it's ready to accept something. It knows that if it gets that form, where it's going to put it in the system. All right. So veteran leads, this is the one I'm going to be dealing with. And so it's got email, full name, phone, date of birth. That's all I need. So boom. All right. So we've got our fields mapped out. Any questions while we're moving along here? Okay. So the next thing, I've got it set up. So I've got my ad, I've got my fields mapped out. So if they do come into the system, we know where they're going, but now I need to build an automation that says, get them into the system, right? So we're going to deal with this one. And again, you guys have all this by default. When you click on automation, you should be seeing the exact same thing. I'm dealing with the snapshot account, which is the account that I call that we load onto all of your accounts when you get one created. So you should be seeing a lot of these exact automations already in there. We're going to be dealing with the folder here, Facebook lead ads. And then in there, we've got several different types, but the Facebook VA leads is the one we're going to be looking at here.
And also just make sure that you have a pipeline built that you can assign this stuff to. So, I mean, there are several in there that we already have built, but if you did need a specific pipeline just for this one, just go into your opportunity screen and across the top, there'll be a tab that says pipelines, and there you can create the pipeline, the specific pipeline that you want to assign these.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. So let's back up. That's a very good point. I'm sorry. So let's back up one step. So before I set the automation up, like he's saying, I need to have somewhere where they're going to go when they come into the system, right? Because when they fill out that form by default, it's going to create them in here. but I'm not going to come and work every individual in my system. So what I want to do is have somewhere for them to live. By default, we do have a couple of, quite a few pipelines built out for you. So one's called a Facebook leads test. We have MA leads here. So different uses that you could have for all of them. So we already have one. I have one in mind that I was going to use was just the Medicare Advantage leads, because if I'm creating leads based on 170 or a Part B give back, these are going to be Medicare Advantage style leads, and that's going to be the idea with them. However, we're all prepared to handle anything else they throw at us. So that's not an issue, right? Like, it's just the idea and the target for this whole campaign was to target MA leads. And so that's another thing that, you know, you need to separate when you start looking at your marketing, is targeting everybody individually. What I mean is, like, I need to have a very specific market that I'm targeting for MA. Like, what does that client look like? And I need to figure out how I'm going to get in front of that specific client. So like for us, we were talking about how can I write Medicare Advantage year round? Well, I could target the low income market, or I can target the VA market, right? And I can write it year round. So that's what we're doing here. Trying to figure out people that are going to let us help them because they desire some of these things that the MA plans are going to give them. And so once you figure that out, we can build an ad that would target them, and we can build a pipeline to run them through. So again, we're considering all these lead sources, like very specific, right? Like the goal, what's the goal of it? It's either an MA HIP, health insurance, Medicare Advantage lead, Medicare supplement lead, like things like that. So I just encourage you to be very specific with your marketing and your target market. So we're going to use the pipeline here. We'll just, for instance, on this one, the Facebook leads test, right? So by default, we have a new lead stage of the pipeline. We have a follow-up stage, a called 3 times, no answer, appointment scheduled, and then an in underwriting or a pending stage. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we added this little button that would collapse all your cards. Pretty neat little feature. Or if you wanted to collapse these, you could hit that little dude right there and it'll collapse them. So we have the pipeline set up where we want them to go. So the opportunity and the pipeline is there. If you want a new pipeline, simply click on pipelines and edit or add a new one here. But we do have that already. So that is a very important stage. If you don't have that set up, make sure you have where they're going to be put to work set up. So we're gonna go back to the automation, back to them Facebook leads, and back to the. So I renamed this. I encourage you every time that you start editing or customizing one of the automations in the system to rename it from what I have it named by default. And I say that because if you ever tell me, hey, I want some of the new updates, and I push the new updates to you, if you have an automation with the same name already, it's going to say, do you want to override it? And I don't usually override it. I usually say, no, just skip it. And so you won't get any new variations to that. However, if you change the name of it, when I say push it, there's not going to be a conflict, and you'll have yours that you've edited and the new one or the old one, still in there. So if you ever customize anything, change the name of your workflow just to be safe. All right. So like I named mine the June Steven Martinez Facebook VA leads here, right? So the very first step of this is going to be a Facebook lead form is submitted. So we have 3 different style of triggers in the system. So if I add a new workflow, my workflow trigger type is either going to be a CRM trigger, something inside of the system is starting this sequence, or it's going to be something inside of Facebook is starting the sequence, or Shopify. Typically, you're not going to be dealing with Shopify a whole lot, but Facebook and the CRM are the main 2 we're dealing with. In particular, the Facebook lead here. I'm going to rename it just because I like naming them. New VA Facebook lead. What is the trigger? Facebook lead form is submitted, right? But I'm not done yet. I have to tell it exactly which form. So I'm going to add a filter because I don't want all my Facebook forms. If I just left it like that, every Facebook form I had, when one was submitted, it would come through here. But I want to narrow it down and say in form, and when that form is. There it is.
Veterans lead, yeah.
There we go. And now I'm going to save that trigger. Oh, well, it's not letting me save it because I have the exact same thing already set up, but lead form submitted, save. So now that's going to start this sequence of events here. So the very first thing I want to do is assign it to a user in the system, right? So I want to assign it to a user. So when the text message or the automations go out, it's coming from somebody specifically. So I can select multiple users. If I select multiple, it's going to say, how do you want to split these the traffic between them, evenly or unevenly? Let's just say tester 1 is a very powerful agent. He needs 5 leads to tester 2. He's brand new. He needs 1 lead for every 5 this other guy's getting. I can do that. Or I can just split them evenly. It's going to round robin between all of the users that I have selected here. I only have 2 users in the system, but if I had more, they would all be listed right here. So we're just going to split it equally between them 2. And then this is another thing to be aware of. Only apply to unassigned contacts. I say that because you may have somebody that you've been working already and they've seen your ad and they fill out another lead form. And the first one got assigned to Steven and Steven started sending them a text. But now a week later, they filled out another form and we'll send them texts. Like it would just be easier to say, well, if it's Steven's already been working it, we're going to let Steven continue to work it, right? So only apply to unassigned contacts in the system. All right. So the very first thing we're going to do is notify the agent that there's been a new lead generated. So all this action is an internal email to the actual user that was assigned. So email from the location.name. So whatever your system name is, we're going to be Bobby Brock Insurance. So the agent's going to get an email from Bobby Brock Insurance from our info@Bobby Brock Insurance email. That's our location email. And then who do we want to send the email to? Well, in this case, I said I want to send it to whoever was assigned, but I can send it to a specific user if I need to, a custom email if I need to, but most of the time it's going to be assigned user. And then right here, here's the subject of it. It's just going to be a new Facebook VA lead. You have a new Facebook VA lead, give them their name, give them the phone number. This is just to notify them that they have a new lead, that they're aware of it in the system.
You also might want to consider throwing a tag step in here too. And if they're coming in through your Facebook VA lead, it's nice to at least have a tag on them so that you know where they came from. It's going to be in your activities, but the tags are going to be helpful for targeting later on.
Facebook VA. And I don't have that tag in there by default, but this builder will let you add tags on the fly. So we're going to add that tag. So now when someone comes through, we're going to give them a tag like he was saying, just so we can identify them a little easier later on. So we sent the email out to the agent. Next thing is we're going to create an opportunity. We have to put them on the opportunity dashboard to give the agent or the user a place to go and work them visually. And that's what we were setting up right before this. So we're going to say, create an opportunity in that Medicare Advantage lead pipeline in the stage, new lead. And what are we going to call the opportunity? Right? So all that variable data, you may be thinking, well, I don't know where that's even coming from. If any of these inputs ever have a tag like this, I call it the little Best Buy tag, right? Little price tag. That's going to be your variable data tag. So in this situation, I'm going to name this opportunity the contact's full name. So the contact is whoever the lead is. Be sure not to use user in this situation, because user is going to be whoever the agent is using the system. All right. So we have a contact name opportunity, and I just called this opportunity source VA Facebook MAPD. This one's probably worth a little bit more than 300. Go with lifetime value of 1,000. And we're going to allow the opportunity to move to any previous stage in the pipeline. And we're going to not allow duplicate opportunities. I only want one opportunity per person. So I have that set up. I'm going to go ahead and save this action. Go ahead and save this. Always a good idea to save. All right. So we've created the opportunity. Now we're going to send them a text message. Hi, first name. This is username. So this is why it was important to assign it to a user, because if it wasn't assigned to a user, then this would be blank. Or if you know who it's coming from every time, like I could just put Justin Brock here. Like if I just want everything to say, hey, this is Justin Brock, which we do sometimes with some of the leads because Justin's on the TV ads. He's been doing it for a while. Like he's kind of the face of the company here locally. So sometimes we'll put it, hey, this is Justin Brock. But in this case, I want it to be unique to that individual. So this is username getting back with you about the request you put in for additional veteran benefits on Facebook. What branch of the military did you serve in? Right. That usually is going to get somebody that served in the VA to respond. And we're just trying to creating, just a little bit of engagement, trying to weed out the people that won't let us help them after they filled out a Facebook ad. Cause we all know that happens, right? They fill out a Facebook lead form and then you call them and they say, I don't know what I was doing. I didn't mean to do that. But we're trying to weed them out. And so you're not spending your time chasing down people that don't want to let you help them. All right. So we're going to send them a text message. The very next step is a wait step. So we put in a wait step, and this will hold a person for a specific time or until a condition exists or until the contact replies. So the one we're looking for is until the contact replies. So we're going to wait for, right? Again, these are all the things I could wait for, but I'm going to say wait for a reply on certain steps. We'll reply to what step? So in this, I selected the branch SMS email. What branch of the military did you serve in? Right? SMS timeout. So the timeout means if they don't reply in that specific amount of time, we're just going to move on to the next step. So I'm going to give this guy 2 hours to reply. Right? If you don't say something back in 2 hours, I'm going to hit you with another text message. Right? So 2 hours. So if they do reply, it's going to move on to the next step. I've built in a 3-minute wait to make it seem more authentic because I don't want to just hit them right back with another question. So 3 minutes later, if it's Monday through Friday between 8:15 and 10, we're going to reply to them. Do you use the VA or have TRICARE? Again, if they didn't reply to, what branch of the military would you serve in, typically they're going to reply to use the VA or have TRICARE. And either way, if they did reply, I'm just going to say the exact same thing, right? Like because usually the reply is, yeah, I was in the Navy, I was stationed here, or yeah, I was in the Army, stationed here. I was in whatever, right? And so it's never usually like a question back or anything that I need to like say, well, if he says this, it's just he replied. That's all I need to know. He said something back. So the next question is, do you use the VA or have TRICARE? Again, I'm trying to weed them out. I'm trying to identify, okay, he was a veteran. He did serve in the Navy. Okay, he is using the VA, or does he have TRICARE? Because I need to know that before I call. That's useful information. And then the next step is we're going to wait for a reply. So the exact same thing, wait for a reply, except I don't have the timeout here, right? And so I actually need to have the timeout. And we're going to put that at, actually that was intentional. The next step is a reply based on that. So we're going to wait for a reply. Do you use the VA, right? All right. Do you use the VA? Wait for a reply. You use the VA. So the very next step. So if he replies to that, no matter what the reply is, we're going to say in this very next step. All right. We're going to have an if condition. I'll just build this out again. So you say if the contact reply, right? Contact replied and his intent type is positive, right? He said yes, or something with the positive nature, like the AI is going to try to interpret what they say and determine whether it was a positive intent, like it was something, and it wasn't like, no, quit texting me, or don't bother me again. If it was something like don't bother me again, then we're going to go the other route, right? So that's all that's built in right here. If the contact reply does not contain no. So I can do it either way. This way I'm capturing everybody that just doesn't immediately say no, right? Or I could do it does not contain. It's not. there it is. Contact applied, no or yes. So I could do it that way, or I can do it intent type is. Right. So all I did there was say intent type is not negative. He said something else besides no. All right. 2-minute delay. So we're going to wait 2 minutes and then send them an, okay, great. Do you also have Medicare A and B? If he has Medicare A and B, we're going to wait. We're going to wait for the reply. Because usually if they replied that much, they're going to reply at this point. Do you have Medicare A and B? 2-minute delay. So if they reply does not contain no. So if they say anything other than no, they're going to come this way. And it's going to say, you know, Bill, it sounds like you would qualify for a Part B premium reduction because of your veteran status. I will call you soon. If you want immediate help, call our office. And then it's going to send another message that says your lead is ready to be called to the assigned user. And now they know I got the lead, and then I got a follow-up saying they're ready to be called. And so when they get that, they know they completed all the automation, and now they're ready to be called. If they said no, it sounds like you may need help with insurance other than Medicare, right? Because he said no, that he doesn't have Medicare. If he doesn't have Medicare, I can't help him with Medicare, but I can help him with something else. So we'll be glad to help you with that as well. Please call our office. Like, we're just encouraging them to call in. Now, this is where you can customize this in sequence to you. You can do whatever you want with it, right? Like you may want to have that do the same thing. Like that's completely up to you. This is built for our office and how we wanted to do it. So if we back up a little bit, right, and we ask them a question up here, do you use the VA or have TRICARE? If they said no back then, we waited 2 minutes and then we almost sent them the exact same thing, except I added, okay, that's no problem, because that's no problem whether they use the VA or have TRICARE. I just need to know, do you have Medicare now, right? That's no problem. Do you have Medicare A and B? And we're going to wait for a reply, and then we're going to give them 2 minutes. And then they're going to say, so finish it out the same way. Do you have Medicare? They say yes, put them into the manual call section. And so we'll go look at what that looks like, right? So let's just say, all right, there we go. All right, so I've built this out. Everything's to my liking. I'm good with all these text messages and the way they look, because again, I've built these, so you'll have to go through them and maybe custom to how you would like it. But if they make it through this part, the last step is a manual call section. And so when they make it there, all that does is put them in conversations under manual actions. So if I click manual actions, everybody that made it to manual call would be listed right here, ready for me to call. So it would make it easy for you to run this for a weekend and then come in on Monday morning and say, all right, these 5 or 6 people came in over the weekend. They're ready to be called. They met the endpoint of the automation. They're primed, ready to go. Top hot prospects, right? So, questions?
Yes. How can I? How would you?
Did we lose him?
No, I'm here. How would you
sorry.
add a reminder email for, let's say you have an appointment 2 months down the road, an email to come in that morning of the appointment?
It's set up by default on the calendars, right? Let's go check.
Well, the confirmations are, the reminder email would need to be set up based on that calendar in an automation, I would imagine. If you're wanting to get that automation, depending on how long in advance you wanted that reminder that you have a that you have it. I mean, you can also set tasks, check the dashboard, and then you will be able to see when those are coming down the line. But if what you're wanting is text message automation, you definitely can set it up. Just have to hook it to that calendar.
Yeah, I mean, it's as created, right? So right here, they have it by default in the system. So if you go to the workflow builder right here, it's a recipe, appointment confirmation, reminder, survey, review request. It's going to do all of that. Or you can just do an appointment confirmation and reminder. So let's just click that one and hit create new workflow. And so here's a confirmation email. Hey, your appointment has been confirmed with the start time. If this does not work, let me know. When it's time, please use the Zoom meeting link. Right. So like this is setting up for a Zoom. But right here, it says appointment. So my trigger is when the appointment is. So when the appointment status is confirmed. Now I can say when a customer booked appointment, we should have a calendar. Well, here we go. So you could say when an appointment is booked in calendar, and let's just say it's you know, a Medicare meeting follow-up calendar.
Is that chat box blocking y'all's view?
No, I don't think they can see that.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, it's all blocking your
Just my view. That's, I mean, I know what you're doing. That's okay. I just wanted to be sure.
So yeah, in calendar. So now we're narrowing it down to a specific calendar when we're going to set this appointment confirmation and reminder up. So when Medicare meeting follow-up is filled out, now we're going to send this confirmation email. Again, you would just come through here and decide who you want that to come from. If it's the user, again, make sure you have a user assigned. The calendar should be set up to assign it to a specific user. So it should be assigned already when it comes in. But just be sure you're putting it from calendar full name, from user, email. Right. Save. All right. 24 hours before the appointment. Now it's going to wait till 1 day before the appointment. It's going to send a reminder email. Again, we can customize that. Say from full name, from
And this automatically puts those cancel and reschedule links in there for you so that
Yes.
they're able to get in there and change it if they need to.
I mean, you just need to put your, like, if it's going to be a Zoom link, you know, you can come through and put that in there. Like I'm deleting it out because, you know, I'm assuming you're going to call them. But if you wanted the Zoom link, by all means, you know, come in here, add your meeting link that you use for that, something like that. Save. So 1 hour before. Contact. User. The meeting is in 1 hour. Now, were you wanting notifications to yourself that the meeting was coming up or for the client?
To myself.
Okay, so I could just add the exact same thing. Say internal email. Can use the account name, account email, and send this to the assigned user and say appointment in 1 hour. Just kind of give you that. Sure. call you by your full governmental name every time. Contact phone, right? So that's just giving you their name, their phone number, and to the contact email. So it's gonna tell you, hey Brandon, your appointment is in 1 hour with whatever. Here's your phone number, email.
Okay, so my next question is how do I assign that, or how does the system automatically recognize the appointments in the different appointment or different calendars that my team has?
Yeah, so that was set up right here, right? So
Okay.
In your calendar, you're gonna have calendar settings. So if I go to my calendar, like how it's being assigned, who it's being assigned to is all in your calendar. So like in my team calendar here, I'm saying this specific calendar, this is my Facebook calendar. This is what I send out to Facebook leads. And I want these to go for availability between these two. So let's just say, tester 1, he's high priority agent. Tester 2, he's high priority agent. If you had it Zoom, I would connect it through Zoom and they would automatically populate the Zoom or the Google Meet links, if you're doing something like that. But just leave that. So now I have a Facebook calendar, Facebook description. I'm good with that. Go next. But right there where I set that was telling it who to assign it to the users.
Gotcha.
Right here, I'm setting up all the availability, when it's going to accept appointments and all that good stuff. And then on this last one here, I'm letting the calendar auto confirm the appointment. And so it sends appointment alerts and emails to the assigned team member. So as soon as somebody makes the appointment, it's going to send you it and say, hey, you have a new appointment on there. But you're just wanting a reminder like, hey, your appointment's in 5 minutes or your appointment's in an hour.
Yeah, I had an agent ask me, hey, look, I have a very good appointment that I scheduled for August. How do I set where there's a reminder? That was the main concern. I didn't know how to create that workflow.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah. So, so let's just say that and you could do the same thing. So if I went back to that, right, I could not filter it for specific calendars. If I just took this filter out, an appointment, now this is going to go through that sequence for every appointment that's in my system. So I could just I could just have it one step and be like an internal reminder. And 5 minutes before every appointment, that agent gets a reminder. No matter what calendar, no matter what it is, if it's an appointment in the system 5 minutes before it, you're going to get a text message or an email, right? Like you could set that up. It would be okay. I would just strip all these steps down and leave it the internal notification,
which is what I'm going to do. But can you go back to that top work, the appointment, and you removed something off of there?
Yeah. Because I had it filtered out, right? Because I was building this and I said, only do this when the appointment is in a specific calendar. Right.
Oh, okay. In a specific calendar.
Right. I had multiple calendars and I said, well, I only want to go through this sequence when someone books it in my Medicare meeting follow-up calendar.
I see. Okay. So I don't necessarily need that. I could take off the filter.
Right. What you were wanting is more, I want every appointment. I want a notification, a reminder on every appointment.
Now I don't want, I don't mind it, but let's say I have one agent, he has an appointment, another agent has an appointment, and the way you just have that set up, am I personally getting each email for everybody's appointments, or is the user getting an email?
It's the user, right? Because right here, when we said send an internal notification, it says who do you want to send it to the assigned user.
Gotcha.
Now, like I said, if you want it, you could add another step and you could say always send it to Brandon. And you could have one that always goes to him and one that always comes to you. Like that's just if you were trying to hold them accountable or wanting to know that they were having activity, something like that.
I understand. Yeah, that answers everything. And my next question was, it's the voicemail. I kind of want to, essentially when I put a tag, it puts them in I guess, a workflow essentially that sends out a voicemail directly to the client. And the voicemail I'm having a little problem creating when I'm transferring over the saved voicemail. I can't, I'll just say the words JPEG, or it might be MP3 or MP4.
Right.
It's not gathering all of the voicemail, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it only comes through in MP3 and WAV files is all it's called.
WAV files.
Yeah.
But it's cutting out half of the voicemail.
Yeah, I think there is a file limit on it.
Like they're getting the back end of the voicemail instead of the entire voicemail that I've recorded.
As I say, ours is 14 seconds. That's why I was just trying to see what the size was on it. So we don't, you know how long it is? Because I think there is like a limit on.
Let me look here.
I would have to look up what that limit is, but I know there is a limit on the size of that, with the length of it, and I'm not sure if it's
Where
letting
do you go
upload it
for the
and then cutting it
voicemail?
off.
Might have been my staff. Edit.
But
It's 20. Let's see here. Hello, this is. So on the recording, it's showing that I have the whole thing, but whenever the
right, but
I
how
tested
long-
it out, whenever it
how
was sent
long
to
do you-
me, I only got a portion of it.
How long is your file? Like, what's the length of the file right now?
Let me see here.
All right, so our Facebook ad got approved. Lingo Jam will generate
I
this
think-
text for you guys.
I think it's less than 20 seconds.
Well, I'm not sure, honestly. Alex said I'd have to do some research on that. We had took some of our voicemails out. We were sending some automatic voicemails, but we took them out. The only place I'm using the voicemails now is in the actual call voicemail. So if someone calls the number and then the number will leave like on no answer, we have a voicemail, like it says, "Hey, thank you for calling Bobby Rock Insurance. Sorry we couldn't get your call. Leave a message." Like we have a true voicemail. Were you talking about that type of voicemail, or you were talking about like one of these voicemails that you would drop in the box on their end, right?
So essentially, like, I haven't been able to get a hold of them, or they're not responding through text
Right,
message.
you're
So
leaving them a voicemail. Yeah, I got you.
I was going to leave them a voicemail, and then also my current clients, I was going to send them a voicemail. So essentially, I don't have to call each and every single one of my clients during Medicare Advantage season to remind them that it's time to shop their insurance.
I would just be hesitant with that. I know there were some new laws with the ringless voicemail drops. I don't know whether it applies to your state or not, but there was a lot of new laws that went into effect where you couldn't do ringless voicemail drops anymore. So like we took a lot of ours out because of it.
Even like current clients.
Yeah, well, like this one specifically that we're looking at, I had a birthday ringless voicemail drop that would drop to them, and so I mean that's like, yeah, a very loyal client. I'm going to tell happy birthday to, but we took it out just because TCPA laws, say that you can no longer like do a ringless voicemail drop, and so I'm not even sure if the system is doing it because like I just know we were like, well, if there's violations again, like we don't want to get involved in any of that.
Well,
so.
from what I understand, they're moving it from ringless voicemail to one ring voicemail.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That's what they're calling it now, so that there is technically a ring and it's not ringless anymore. So, I mean, it still works the same way.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
as Stephen was saying, just make sure that everything is good with your state and that you're not going to be getting into any sort of trouble by dropping these off.
Yeah. But I'll have to follow up with you on that, Brandon. I'm not really sure why it's not getting you the whole one. But like I said, I'll get back with you on it, see if I can figure that out.
Okay. Really, the only other thing is there a way that if, let's say, another question were to come up, that I could, let's say, send a text message or an email and get responded to that way?
What do you mean? Give me an example.
Like if I have a workflow that I was trying to accomplish, or design I'm trying to accomplish, to set up, do I have to wait till Tuesday to ask it, or am I able to just send a text message or an email out?
By all means, yeah. Email is going to work best. If you shoot an email to me or Will, like, we're going to get back with you.
Okay, cool.
And then we
Cool.
have the support ticket system in there. You know, if it's, like I said, I always tell people if it's late or after hours and you're just trying to figure something out, like, you can do that. Email either one of us. But yeah, I mean, like I said, if it's something very thorough, like, I'd like to do it on this call so everybody can see it, and get an idea of how that's going to work for them.
No, I understand. Hey, I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. We probably got time for another question if anybody has any, but it's almost lunch here in the Central Time Zone. And
Are you sending off the recording to everybody?
so if you go into the system, there's a GoGuru.pro info tab,
Mhm.
and it's under weekly calls. All of the weekly calls will be listed here, and we're making an effort to go back through and name them appropriately. So like today, I even named ours Build and Connect the Facebook Ads.
Okay.
Just because we were been meaning to name them, and like I said, we haven't had a chance to. So we're making an effort to go back through. So if you're going back and reviewing, it's not just like you're watching something you don't even know what the point of the video is.
Have to file through 10 hours of video to find the answer to your question.
Yeah,
We don't
Understand. I understand. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you guys getting on, and hope this was beneficial for all of you. I think it'll be a good video for people to come back and reference.
This was for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I thank you guys, and y'all have a wonderful Tuesday.
You too.